Hey, and welcome guys. Today I'm working on a project. Obviously I have the snaptite Star Wars X-Wing from Revell, very simple X-Wing model that I got off eBay. If you look around, you sometimes find these really cheap, like I found this one. Um, Now I've done a lot of X-Wings. I'm really doing this as a diorama. I'm going to build this up and I want to build a small diorama. Now I don't think I've ever built one with the landing gear down. I've always kind of built it in the with the X-Wings opened up and the flight mode. So I'm wanting to build something in a landing configuration or on the ground with like some people around, some droids, something of that nature. Not quite sure all the details of all that. So I've already started. This model's really simple. It's not too bad. It's not obviously not a Bandai kit. It's about equivalent to a 1/72nd scale. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think it says on the box anywhere the exact scale, but it's really close to a 1/72nd scale type model. I'm already pulling the parts off. I'm putting the engines together. You have like this two-piece part here. I'm pulling those together. Obviously I have some seam lines I'll have to address. Just looking at the wings here, I went ahead and removed some of the, it comes pre-painted, at least the markings are pre-painted on the plastic, and I removed some of the paint with some enamel thinner, and as you can see it's kind of strange. It's red 5, but they have 3 of the markings etched out with panel lines, but then the other 2 don't. That's kind of strange. So I'll probably just use those as a reference guide. I'm not going to paint this up as red 5. I want to do some kind of other color scheme, maybe green or something like that. And maybe I'll just have like the 3 green stripes in there. So I'm not worried about, trying to follow canon or anything like that. I'm just trying to have fun with this project. So just going to get started by first building up this X-Wing. Alright, I'm working on my little Revell X-Wing here, and decided to just spruce it up a little bit, give a little bit more detail. So I just added in some strip styrene and some guitar wires on my seat here to give a little detail, and a little bit on the dash here that was just plain. Didn't worry about trying to be canon or anything like that. Just wanted to give a little visual interest. So when we put that in there, I think it gives us a nice looking cockpit, at least better than what it did look anyway. So the plan is to have it all in a with its landing gear down, and I believe I'm going to go in the direction of it's being maintained or worked on. As you can see here, I have the wings already put together with the engines, and it's already glued shut. I just put on the doors to the landing gear, the rear landing gear, and I need to primer that. But I think I'm going to paint these in sections before they snap all together. As far as the maintenance part, I've cut out a little section right here on the bottom part. I 3D printed this instrument panel I found on Thingiverse. I'm not sure what it's to, but I thought it had a lot of interest to it. And the plan right now is to kind of mount it right in here. And I may put like a little light, since we have this big screen, somewhere back here, so that will be lit, and possibly have some kind of ground crew or maintenance person with the I'll have the section here kind of opened up, and that person working on the doorway to kind of tell the story. So that's the plan on the X-Wing right now, and it's coming together pretty good, and we'll just keep moving forward with this. Alright, as you can see, I have my X-Wing all painted up. Nothing drastically different from what I've done in the past with X-Wings. I did like a white gray base coat, and then masked off all the green and light green surfaces. I did a few decals from an old X-Wing, I think a Bandai X-Wing set, just to give it some visual interest. Did some work with pastels and my airbrush to give it a weathered effect, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. How the cockpit came out. You can see our maintenance panel here, and I added in a little mesh screen over that, again, to add a little bit more detail to it. So pretty happy with how that came out. And you can see the bottom here. I didn't really do a lot of work on the bottom. I still may go back and touch up the bottom, but for the most part it's not going to be seen. It's going to be sitting right here, so I'm not going to worry a great deal about that. So pretty happy with how that came out. As you can see, I have started working on my base. I had some acrylic that left over from an old project, house project. This is 1/8 inch acrylic, and you can see I've already scribed it, kind of give it a worn look. This is going to be painted up. It's going to be like a concrete platform or something like that, sitting on top of our kind of a hilltop or something is what I kind of envision. I printed out a few things. I have printed out this fuel tank. Not sure of where everything's going right at the moment. I think this is a leftover print, some kind of generator. I've also printed out a few droids and a few figures to go with it. I stole this little black piece from my Lego set from my grandkids, so hopefully they won't miss that part. And that's going to run up into our X-Wing where I've drilled this hole, and that's where this 3mm light will go. It'll look like a fuel line coming out, and we'll run that off to somewhere. So you can see I've cut in some stairs. I'm going to add some styrene to kind of give that a better look to it, a cleaner look, and we'll start shaping up our base here. I'll probably have to cut away a section in the center here to store the battery and probably the switch. Haven't figured out the switch. It may be inside, or I may try to disguise it somewhere on the top. I haven't quite got that far yet. So that's the plan, and we'll just keep moving forward with it. All right, I'm working on my little fuel tank here, and I put a couple coats of flat black on it since I'll be light blocking it. It was put in clear. See where I have a few holes in here. My intention is to put some lights in there and light this control panel to some degree, maybe just 1 or 2 lights, nothing sophisticated. But after I put the black on, I did some Vallejo, I believe, aluminum, and airbrushed that on very lightly. You see I didn't try to cover it all. I used some of the black to have some kind of some shading effects in there. And now I'm going on, this is made a mixture, kind of a heavy wash, a little bit of terracotta and some black, and mix that together with quite a bit of water. And you can see where I'm just placing it on here to kind of dirty down. Whoops, got a little bit too much terracotta. I'm going to blend all this together, wash it, give it a good wash, good bath almost in these dark colors. And it doesn't have to be uniform. This kind of simulates some rust and wear on this tank. And I'll do that and let it dry. Yeah, I'll get a towel and kind of wipe off the excess. So we'll come back once we get that finished up. Alright, I have all my basic elements completed, painted up. I still have some more work to do on the actual base here. I want to get everything in place and then start working on the details. I have my landing strip completed, painted. I did some kind of sponging with just a paper towel and some different paints, added in some of this light tan so it would blend in more with the surrounding area. I have my fuel tank ready, my X-Wing is ready. I have a little droid that's going to be lit, and there's a light in there for him, and the lighting and a couple of figures, some other things. I plan on adding a little bit more once I get everything kind of into place. I'm not 100% decided on where everything's go. I do want to set the X-Wing kind of in this position so you can see the access panel light going off to give it some life. Probably have the fuel tank somewhere off to the side here, and put all the other stuff according. I still want to do some dirtying down of the display base and add some more, maybe some sand or something to give it a little bit more texture on the base. But pretty liking it pretty much. Not 100% on the color of the ground right now. I may go a little bit browner. On the screen it's looking quite yellow. It's not quite that yellow. In person it is more brown, but looking at it through the view screen here, it has kind of a yellowish color, which isn't really what it is. So I may just darken that up a little bit and see how that turns out. Okay, I'm trying to add some more color and depth to my diorama here, and what I've done is I've taken this little dropping tube with the metal tip. I've added in some this black gray and this German black brown, and then put mixed water in, probably 2 or 3 parts of water to 1 part of paint, to where it's pretty thin. As you can see right here, I've already started adding it in, and I think that's helping out a whole lot. It's giving our diorama a lot more color variation, and just the dark color is bringing out a more depth to it. So, and all I'm doing with this tip here is just putting some down and taking a spray bottle full of water and then letting it kind of seep in like that. And it fades quite a bit, but I'm trying to get all these kind of lower areas that aren't highlighted, and I'm darkening it up that way, and I'm really liking how that's coming out. And you can always go over and do a little bit more if you want it darker. So pretty happy with that. And I may add in some extra colors, maybe some red browns or other kind of browns, to give it even more color variation. And also, as you can see here, I just put some of this on this platform. I'm trying to get this platform all dirty, and just like this, and then just kind of spraying it, and that gives us a nice kind of splatter effect, like a spill or something. So I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to work on the rest of this, and I'm really happy that those colors are giving it more depth. Just the more depth, the more color variation. Wasn't quite happy of just that light color. All right, I have all my different elements pretty much ready to go. I'm going to be attaching all these with my different droids, my figures, the different things I've created for the diorama. Once I get those on, I'm going to do a little bit more detail work with some of this gravel, putting it more around once I get everything attached and all the lighting attached, put my X-Wing on place and glue it on the place. So when I come back, we'll take a look at the finished diorama. All right, well, here's our finished X-Wing diorama. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I did a lot of extra detail. Just the finishing touches I did a lot of 3D printing, or some 3D printing. I printed out some cargo crates, some stowage. I did some scratch building. Some of these things were just some styrene plastic, just kind of give it that busy look. The little crane mechanism to remove the R2 unit was a piece of a display stand. As you see this, I just won my box of scraps. I like the kind of that industrial feel of this particular piece. And this part right here is actually the landing gear from a 1/29th scale X-Wing. So I have part of an X-Wing being reused there, along with some odds and ends. I think this is also a piece of a display stand and a little guitar wire to connect all that. Pretty pleased with how that came out. Kind of gave us that vertical aspect to our display. I have the lights going here. We have our color change LED going. We have our flickering blue LED as the X-Wing's being repaired. Our power droid here, I forgot what they're called. He has some lights. I had some issues trying to light this other droid unit here, so he didn't get, ended up not lighting him. And then I just added some more gravel, some other things, did a lot of weathering to everything, and just really pleased to come out. Ended up kind of having the one person actually working, and the other guy trying to tell the other guy what to do. So I thought there's a little bit of comedic value in that. So you look all the way around. On the back here, I just painted with some flat black, just to cover that. But pretty much you can view it from all angles. Did a lot of weathering on the X-Wing. I wanted it to look really beat up, like it's really makeshift, holding it together. So overall, I'm happy with all the detail. I try to spend a lot of time with some of the smaller things, focusing just like adding a tool on top of their little platform here, and some of the just the rocks. I have some. These are actually some grass-looking material, which are actually just pieces of paintbrush that I cut up. And I'll post a picture of the bottom of the battery configuration. There's a switch, rocker switch underneath that I just have to lift up. Everything is glued into place, so it's not going anywhere. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. It was a lot of fun building it. I'm really pleased with how it came out. And until next time, everybody have a good one.